Carrington from WSP here in person, and online is Ashley from WSP as well.
Linda, do we want to open with our karakia?
Yes, we can do that. Sorry, thank you.
No, God, I should have said it. Mai tupai mauna, waru ki te tai, pai te awa tona, aru ki te awa raki, tēnei te ahuri, a whenei te taitaki, whanga e whaio, a rima ki tauki, only nui tarai kia. Carterton.
So we've just got a bit of an agenda for today. We're going to run through a little bit of background around how we've got to where we've got to with Carrington Park. And then Susan and Ashley are going to take over and walk through the design for Carrington Park. At 11 o'clock, they're going to head off, and Ants from Acid Skate Design is going to come in online and talk to us through the skate park design. And then if we've got a little bit of time after that, we can talk toilets. Sound good? Awesome. So for those of you that don't know, the design for Carrington Park was originally set up by Carterton. So in 2019, 2018, council community applied for a fund, the CLPD, which was Community-Led Partnership Fund. It was a 5-year program where they were funded to work with community-led organisations to develop and enhance Carterton. Through that, they did a whole lot of community consultation. They did a creative forest session. They came up with their implementation plan. COVID obviously came in that time, which slowed things down. But coming back in that late 2021, they started to look into the revitalisation of Carrington Park. So we began that 2021. There was a whole lot of community consultation. Led on from that, they left the skate park component out. They wanted to filter skate elements through the park, but there was a group in the community that really wanted to see the skate park developed at the same time. So they formed their own group to sit alongside, and Carpi supported them through that process and funded them to get the designs done for the skate park. That was all completed late 2023, and then the CLPD funding ended. It was picked up by Friends of Carrington Park Group, but they didn't really kind of take the reins and run with it, and it sat on the shelf. So what we've had sitting on the shelves is a shovel-ready project for the entire Carrington Park project, and the community and partnerships team have still been working with the skate park group to get them to their point. So we're almost at the point with skate park where we're good to go. Earlier this year, we allocated some funding through the reserve contributions to undertake an upgrade of a section of the Carrington Park area. So we did a play audit, and it came back with a number of areas that we needed to improve the design for. Improve the playground equipment for, which led to us saying, if we're going to do it, we might as well do it under the theme that the community had already. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on the process that Carpi went through to get to where they got to with our community. So hopefully this plays.
Imagine the possibilities, what makes Carterton unique. Start working at each of the 4 tables, and each table has a topic. What you write down becomes our working brief.
Linda, can I just just add to what you've mentioned. What needs to be put alongside what Kāpai brought to the community was there was $3.5 million of DIA funding behind this.
Yes.
Which is what the community were focused on, and what was put to the community was dream big.
Yeah.
We've got funding there to think big, but when it finally came back as to what this was going to cost, it was projected to be about $6.5 million.
Yeah. So I think Susan will touch on that a little bit as well. But following on from that, they were looking at co-funding with DIA, Eastern and Central, some other funders, and us with in-kind contributions to deliver the whole project. That was outside of our ability at the time. And I think we had agreed to the third section, which was all the landscaping in the wider area of the park, focusing on the funding coming in to deliver the playground equipment and the splash pad and some other bits and pieces that they'd proposed at that time. But you'll give a little bit of a background into that?
Yeah, definitely. If you, there we go.
That one?
Yep. And I think, Ashley, are you keen to start the presentation, and I can carry on from there?
Yeah, perfect. Cool. That was a real good rundown on basically the timeline of this. I guess if we go to the next slide and just jump straight into it, we sort of started back in our tender documentation where we looked at 3 stages, with one being split into 2 stages. Stage 1A being the main play space, stage 2 looking at the sort of kapahaka multi-use stage and marahupara, nature play, and a multi-use court up the other end as well, where the existing one is. Stage 3 was the extent of the wider park that include marahupara and sort of building on what's sort of existing, as well as the Flying Fox area down the bottom there as well. And stage 1B, as you know, was skate park scope, which have been sort of undertaken by ACID as well. So this is sort of where we started in terms of our staging. So where we currently are sitting is more so in stage 1A, and looking at the changes and stuff that we've implemented through stage 1A. We go into our next slide, we look at our existing park survey. So this is an overview of what's currently sitting there in terms of the assets that are in the park existing. So you've got all your main play space sitting there, the existing court, the existing skate park, and all the wider extents of the park as well, where your access points are. And so this sort of really helped us determine all of the things when we started looking into existing infrastructure to keep, reuse, relocate. It helped us do that staging process in the previous slide as well, and then into the proposed tender work that we did do, and also it still continued to help us into the current sort of budgeting requirements for our changes that we have made. So if we go into our next slide, our proposed, our full park proposed extents sort of look like this. So we had upgrades to the existing court. We sort of highlighted where that skate area was. We had all of the water play. We had the multi-use court up the top there. We had a few other different elements like the light swings and the nature play trails, the marahupara, the Flying Fox, as we mentioned. And this sort of touches on some of the stuff that Glenda was talking about earlier as well. And then we had the main play space with the towers, and then various little components that sort of connected the whole wider sort of park extents together as well. All of this design was quite foundation in terms of how we connected in with iwi, with mana whenua and the aspirations and stuff. And so the story that played quite a pivotal role in the way that we went through the proposed design was around the kōkapu, and looking at all of the elements of the kōkapu and how it travels through its life cycle and things, and how that played into rehia, into joy and things, and how we look at play spaces and all of that kind of stuff. So there was quite a lot of components that went into our proposed design, and I guess that original cost estimate, including the 20% contingency sort of came out at around that 7.36 million range. So that's sort of where we started with our first go at it. So if we go into the next slide, we start to look into where we've got to. Oh no, this is just detailing our main play space. So you'll see the major changes sitting in within this area. So this was the extents that we were working with in that main play space. And if we go into our next slide, we go into where we've got to in terms of that redefined extent of work. So we've brought it right back down to that main play space area, and we've integrated into the skate park and what ASIT have done, and that sort of is included in the existing court and how that gets redefined as well. And so this is sort of what our plan is looking like overall, our overall exposed extensive work. And yeah, like in our previous stuff, we don't want to do much at all with the trees. We want to keep them as intact as possible, and so we went through some rigorous arborist work and looked at all of our play surfaces and surfaces sitting in around those trees to not be damaging any roots and things. So in our bigger package of works, we've highlighted where trees will be removed and the protection sort of extents of those roots as well. Is there anything that you wanted to add to this one, Susan?
No, only that during the process we had our original figure of 7.36 million that included contingency. To get to this stage, we increased the rates to 2025 rates, so that current estimate was in 2023. So the first thing we did was made sure we had relevant rates to now.
So rates, you mean costs?
Yeah.
It's been something else to us.
Oh, yeah. So per item, yeah. So just per item, so each item we made sure that the cost per cubic metre of concrete or whatever was adjusted to what would be now. So that's brought the cost up even more. I think it took it up to almost 8 million.
Yeah.
And then we've worked back now to just this area here, and then working with the costs from there. So Ashley, if you continue.
Cool. And so basically the main proposed changes that we're looking at from that stage into this stage is looking to proceed with the reduced scope of stage 1. We removed the sand play, we removed all water play items, we kept the towers. Keeping the towers was high on the list to do. We looked at how we could reduce numbers of play equipment that were excessive, or like just reducing 3 to 2 or 4 to 3. And then we looked at repurposing elements such as the barbecue seating and tables, removing timber boardwalks and things to save on cost and paving. And then we looked at other areas of cost save benefit, redesigning the court and what that looked like in terms of the surface material, and how then it integrated and worked in with the skate park design that ASIT will walk through with you as well. And so those are the major changes that we sort of look to do within that main play space area. It doesn't look too dissimilar to what it did look before. We've tried to keep it quite consistent with what we had originally proposed. It's just a matter of looking at where we could cost save and removing any excess amount of equipment, but we've kept quite a lot of it in there. Probably the biggest thing that you'll see there is just the removal of the sand play element. But yeah, we've done what we can to sort of make sure that that play space is still quite well sort of articulated in terms of interaction with play and the wider extents of the park. So if we go into the next slide, this is still sort of needing a bit of updating, but you can see where the sand play's been removed and sort of that borderline sitting in within where the existing courts go. That timber boardwalk's going to be removed, and a couple of the other elements, they're going to go from 3 to 2, but you'll see that all of the extents around the towers and things are all going to remain. Some of the paving has sort of moved with alignment just to keep in with existing paving and save on cost there. But essentially what you see is basically we've tried to keep as much as we can to what the proposed was. It's just a matter of moving things around just to fit within the budget. If we can keep the amount of play that we've got, we'll keep it. Otherwise, we'll just reduce things like what I was saying before, 3 to 2, 4 to 3. But we'll keep those main elements sort of sitting within that space. If we go into the next set of slides, so we'll just talk a little bit about some of the play equipment that's sitting in there. And we've got the treetop towers. So we've got 3 towers sitting in there, 2 connected, and 1 that's more accessibility friendly. And so these towers we're sort of looking at. We had Susan's had a couple of conversations with some of our play suppliers around the design build cost of those elements. And so we're looking around budget for all 3 towers sitting at around 650k. And she can probably talk a little bit more to that, Susan, if you wanted to go through that
sure.
now.
Yeah, sure. So the towers were important to keep, and we knew they were the most expensive items that we probably had. So we reached out to 3 play suppliers just to make sure we weren't way off in our estimate. So we've had all 3 excited and came back. One hasn't given me pricing yet. She was wanted to talk this morning. I'm like, oh, a bit late. But so the other 2 came in fairly similar. So we're quite confident on what they looked at. And so their prices varied, but both of them roughly came out at 500 for the 2 larger towers and about 130 for the smaller 3rd tower arrangement. We wanted to get those as close as we could because they basically had a large effect on the overall costs. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? Why were the towers important to keep?
Yeah. So that was one of the features that came through really with the community consultation. And it was this is I guess the big centerpiece of the park. Through the community consultation, there was lots of conversations around creating a boardwalk or a tree walk, quite similar to Rotorua, through our trees. Now our trees and Rotorua's trees are quite different, and we wanted to see if we could create that element. And these towers have been designed so that when you're up in them, you will feel that you're up at that level with the trees and feel like the boardwalk. But obviously around the trees and not impacting what we've got. So that was one of the things that really came through strongly from the community.
And you can, so with these towers, you can add stuff to them, which we won't do, but you can have stuff internally for kids to play with, which would increase the price even more. So these are a real, not low end, but they're a good compromise for you could go completely mad and add a whole bunch of side. Yeah.
So, sorry, Grace. Just so everything that's associated around those towers is what you're talking about within the 3 tower prices, or is it just the towers?
Towers and the slides and the connection between them. The rest of it is priced separately within the rough order costs.
So I'm just trying to picture where this sits in relation to what's there now. I spent a lot of time at the park with the kids and I just can't quite picture. Is this like where the rat wheelers and stuff or something?
Yeah, rat rearing, flying
fox area. Okay. Yeah. And at that sort of height. Okay.
How tall is that tallest tower?
We haven't got there yet, but roughly about 4 meters potentially. Yeah.
Is a flying fox going to be retained or?
No.
That's one of the things that's come from the safety audit saying that it's not fit for purpose anymore.
I've got one at Marston that's done all right.
Yep. Theirs is going all right. Yep. Ours is not.
The initial park, they were going to put a new one at.
Big one. We have pulled that out because of the costings. Yeah.
And it also sat outside of this main play space.
Yeah.
What's the a lot of obviously of the towers? There's going to be a lot of wood construction in there. What's the lifespan of these new towers construction wise? I just noticed that Marston are looking at renewing their playground up there, and it's probably 30 years old or something like that. Are we sort of looking at a 30-year lifespan or longer? Or
Depends what we choose to build.
yeah,
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah,
That really
Yeah,
needs to be
basically,
identified
yeah.
right from the start too.
Yeah.
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 So the three suppliers that we went to were all keen to work with us and had produced similar towers, not as
Yeah.
nice as these ones, but similar ones around the country. And so there are examples out there of ones in existence. But obviously, the more timber we use, potentially shorten the life.
health and safety changes every couple of years.
Can I ask a question about the suppliers? Are they standard like playground suppliers that are used by parks around the country type thing?
Yeah.
They are. We've used them on a few of our other play spaces that we've designed as well. So we've worked with them before.
Yeah, cool.
Anything with the towers would have full structural implications. There'd be design requirements as far as certification goes, designed foundations and engineering for wind and geotech and stuff. So that's all included in those prices from. So it would be a design build from those three suppliers.
The equipment that you've mentioned, or the interactive stuff that I guess goes within the towers, is there going to be like an option for those specific things, which could be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, which might allow community groups to become involved in it, to buy A, for instance, that just adds that to it.
So all stuff. So when we do this, we can make sure that all those pieces could be retrofitted later or added to at the time. If you had all the bells and whistles, one of the suppliers felt it would take it from 500 to 700 for the two towers. Yeah.
Is there any water-based activity in this plan?
That's been pulled out.
No, we removed that.
Summer, water activities.
We did have an entire.
That was our stage 2 development. Yeah.
Stage 2, but we've removed that. So that again was outside the scope.
30-degree temperatures, water would be
Yeah,
great.
so the water play aspect was about $1 million on its own.
Yeah.
To put that in.
And it had to be kept out. The water had to be treated every day with chlorine and all these to make it. Yeah, it had to be.
The drinking water standards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of rigmarole that came with the water play.
Why Marston never done theirs yet?
Should we go next slide?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and so this is just a little bit more on those towers as well, just so that you can see it's sort of a little bit more like modelled, what it could start to feel and look like within the trees, and a couple of other play equipment sort of sitting around it. So yeah, this is just a bit of a look and feel of how those towers and play space sort of interact with each other as well as the trees.
Are there normal swings?
Yes, there's normal
Okay,
swings.
just didn't see any.
Yeah, no, there's normal swings. There's normal swings.
Can you just go back one, Glenda? Sorry. And I'm just trying to see the connection between the two towers and the first tower and the next one.
So there's two towers that are connected and there's one tower that's separate. So
That's
here,
standalone.
these two are connected. This is a standalone. But this is just a model of potential of what it could, what it will look like.
Okay, just going by the previous one, it kind of looked like they were connected.
Yeah.
It's a disability.
These two, so the big two will be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the other one looked like it was kind of connected as well.
It's
When you-
disability.
Yes,
Yeah.
so those two,
When you look at it.
the two bigger ones are connected and the smaller ones not. The things that you can sort of see between it are the little nature play trails and stuff that connect across what we call like a play service that's all bark, chip and mulch. Some of the other main play equipment, so we're looking at spinners, we're looking at climbing structures, we're looking at just your common seesaw, trampolines, and some of the other work, if we go into the next slide as well, we've got the swings, we've got normal swings, we've got accessibility, play equipment, as well as we've got some of that nature play stuff, which is more so just timber, natural, and you just sort of work your way through marahu putter and things like that. But we have taken that sand play out. And some of this main play equipment, we're looking at the budget sort of sitting around 750 to 800K for all of our main play space equipment in there. And so we just sort of wanted to give an overview of some of the equipment that was sitting within our main space.
Is there any musical stuff? I see that at some parks.
We did have some sensory musical stuff, but that was kind of sort of sitting in our trails that were sort of working around the extents of the park, not so much in our main play space, because we wanted to sort of extend it out into the park. But
yeah,
that was more so when we were looking at all the whole extent of the park.
Is there any area which can be contained, especially if the families, so they don't sort of run away? Was it all just open plan?
It is open plan
Excellent.
compared to what is now.
I just recall someone was saying, they were talking about the Marston one, that there was a nice area there where you could enclose your kids in there.
We have that in
Yeah,
Carterton now.
right.
We do.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. As a parent, I'm a massive fan of that. For 4 kids,
I get it.
containment is
Exactly.
with the main road and a car park. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I guess when we sort of looked at some of those elements, we're sort of looking at the play space and trying to make it a little bit harder for it to happen without putting barriers up, like the use of planting, the use of where our play equipment was sort of sitting next to each other, and how our pathways sort of interacted with the main play space. So there is a little bit of thought that has gone into that without having to have barriers up everywhere in an indicated sort of Littley's play space. And we sort of tried to incorporate where seating would go as well to sort of observe and those types of things. So there is a little piece of an element there. I mean, that's sort of can be further discussed if that is something that needs to happen.
I certainly think it should be included, just not around the whole park, but just an area for smaller kiddies to be contained. I think just peace of mind for parents.
It's something for us
Yeah.
to talk about.
Yeah.
Have you got any other questions before we start?
In terms of like the surface, so the blue portions are like that squidgy.
Mm.
Okay. And then the part that's the neutral tan coloured part, is that sand or is that a path?
So the neutrally tan stuff,
Yeah.
that's like a play surface as well, but it's just a natural bark mulch play surface, so that it's kind of like you feel like you're in the trees and there's, your ground surface is a bit more natural versus the full on
Colours,
play space. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Is there a plan for people to be able to buy coffee while looking after their kids?
Always say
there.
The revenue,
You can start a business if you want, Simon.
supplement my my council of revenue. Yeah.
That'd be a pretty good business.
Short funding.
Yeah, so.
The other thing that Marston did a little while ago was you could actually, just for community funding, they had it whereby you could buy a fence post or something and put your name on it.
Yeah.
Are we thinking anything the same?
So we haven't for this portion of getting the costs up, but it is definitely something that we can consider going forward into.
Because I think actually the community would quite like to contribute, and it gives them the opportunity to do so.
Just
Back?
yeah, just the and back and back and back and back. Sorry, and
Right
back.
from the start.
I'm there. The basketball courts,
Yes.
is that, because nothing's been mentioned in the next couple of slides, is that inclusive
Yep.
in the cost?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Yes.
that is.
So what we've done with the basketball courts, and you can see it a little bit here, and we'll probably go through that when we do the skate park stuff, is the skate park is going to come out into that basketball court area. So if we go back to the original, we had the full court there. We're now shortening that to allow the skate park to come in, and we've turned the courts so we can create 2 3-a-side courts there. So we'll have the 2 3-a-sides and then the skate park area coming through.
And then the tennis courts that currently exist by the school, that's council property, that just gets.
It stays.
Stays.
So in the bigger picture, it was all addressed. So we would have moved the basketball court down there. I think we've got that there, don't we, Ashley? Basketball court moving down there and creating a bit more flow through the park.
Mm-hmm.
And your cricket nets moved as well.
Cricket nets were moved down. Yeah. And that was your flying fox down here, Simon, at number 23.
Oh, good idea.
Thanks, Ben.
Just one other thing, we haven't created any more car parking areas, have we?
No.
It's as it is.
No. So the original plan, we would have lost car parking in that main area. So keeping it within our existing footprint, it won't change the car parking that we've got in there, but we can't increase the car parking that we've got in there.
Not being a frequent visitor to Carrington Park, what's the car parking like generally? Is it hard to get into, or is it?
No,
Unless there's
Okay.
dogs or something.
most people
Yeah,
walk.
it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Don't you will across the road car park.
Oh, yeah, they'd love it.
Nobody ever put it there.
It's about 33 parks already there, just doing a quick carting aerial.
Yeah. And it's not, and there's no queues waiting to get in.
No.
I know that. And you've got the other car parking by Carterton School as well.
Yeah.
Just what, like a 5-minute walk across.
Yeah.
Just got to
It's fine.
make that a bit well known for people.
So as part of this project, originally there was 2 consents that we've got approval for. So the Carterton District Council consent talks to the car parking and to a traffic impact assessment that we did, looking at the number of people that we might expect to see in the park and the number of visitors / car parks that we might have.
Well, you're keeping the traffic lights.
Yes, we're not touching the cycle track. Yeah.
So that figure, that 2.16, that doesn't include the skate park then.
Yeah. So let's go to that.
So how we got this, so like I said, we got the original figure, we increased it to 2025 costs for each item. We then reconfigured the car park and then readjusted the quantities that we had, so reduced them, or they might have gone up a little bit, different parts and bits and pieces. Then we just kept taking things out. We kept talking to Glenda and her team about how we might be able to get this down. We were stuck for quite a while, and we've managed to get to this figure here, including the towers. This does include a 20% contingency, and we've assumed 12% for what would be P&Gs from any contractor.
P&Gs, I'm trying to work it out.
Oh, so
In general.
yeah. So all contractors will charge you like establishment and disestablishment. It allows for sediment control plans, traffic management plans, all of those quality management plans, health and safety plans, all of those things. Yeah. This also allows for MSQA and contract documents as well.
It doesn't include the skate.
Doesn't include the skate park.
And we've approved 2 million.
Yes.
And it wasn't the third.
Including.
And 92
including
cents.
together, yeah. And wasn't the third tower about $160,000? Just
The third tower's 130, we think. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you remove that.
yeah.
But then that was the accessible one, right?
Yeah, true.
How much was the skate park? We'll go, so skate park with contingency is around 700,000. Hang on, let me just, back. That's,
And that budget there included the scape group raising 200.
yeah, so the skate group were, so when we originally came to council and asked for the funding, we were, the skate park group were committed to looking at the additional 200,000 of fundraising. They're still working towards that. Bex has been working with them in Funding HQ, and they've got meetings coming up in January to look at that. And they're quite keen to, they didn't really want to compromise on their design. There is options for their design as well, which Anthony's going to come and talk to us through around staging the skate park, and there's potential cost savings with creating berms rather than handrails around the high areas. So there is options there to reduce costs with the skate area, but it's not going to be significant reductions. And they are quite keen to do fundraising to see if they can get those next stages. I've also spoken with DIA. So through the CLDP funding that CAPI had, there was this possibility of the 3 million. We don't have access to the 3 million, but there is an opportunity for us to apply through the community facilities funding, and potential, which we can do an application for, and they will assess in May next year. There is an opportunity for us to also apply for funding through Eastern and Centrals and get that partnership funding, which was the original plan through Eastern and Centrals, DIA and Council. With us putting a big contribution up towards it, I think it works in our favour that they're likely to come to the party with some sort of funding to support us going forward with this. But at this stage, we just don't know. We'll have to go through the motions with the funding applications.
Just have one quick, sorry, just with regards to the skate park, is 730 our portion and the actual cost is 930? Is that what you're saying? Or is it 530?
The total cost for that, including contingency, is 730. When we came to council, we asked for the $2 million. We were thinking 1.5 on Carrington Park and 100,000 towards the skate park.
Yeah, okay.
Just going back to the new design and everything.
Yeah.
The PNG side of it, is that including the removal of everything existing, or is this on top?
It doesn't actually.
Doesn't involve removal.
That was the elephant in the room I saw was that you're going to dismantle stuff, remove stuff, do all this put in there. Where does that cost fit in?
So this, there was aspects of that where we're looking at repurposing some of the equipment that we've got within the park into some of our neighbourhood parks. It would be the stuff that we can replace and move and put them into some of the neighbourhood parks. That could be done to an extent on BAU time, but eventually
we can add in an item to allow for that. I can't imagine it would be much.
Same with if there's major changes to the existing skate park, that will be considerable.
It's so that's included into the skate park design, the demolition of, and it's included into this price here. Yeah.
Just what we have allowed for is removal of any grass, any planting, any trees, any concrete footpaths, concrete nibs, and any AC that might be in there. So there is some cost for removal, but not for any
play. Yeah.
And our Parks and Reserves manager is confident that this can be constructed without impacting the trees at all.
Yeah. So
that's why I looked at it.
So we've looked at that as well, and we've had a big arborist report on the trees and how we felt the health of the trees were, but we've also got things in place to avoid the roots. So big screw, Ashley, you might want to explain a bit more.
Yeah, so our play surfaces as well that we use have a real minimum depth requirement. So we've tried to keep where our paths and things sit relatively outside of the real detrimental root zone, and where we are coming sort of in line with that, we're using surfaces and materials that aren't going to be detrimental to the roots. But we worked sort of in those early stages with the arborist report to make sure that what we were doing isn't going to affect the trees. And we have used a couple of these strategies and details within our paving as well. And other projects, it's just a matter of when we get into procurement, working with the contractors and whoever's going to be undertaking this works alongside the arborist again to ensure that those practices are taken forward and actually implemented properly so that nothing does happen to the trees, because sometimes you just get contractors that come in and say, oh well, I've done this before, and lay the paving as they usually would. So we just have to make sure that the details that we have established for the paving that we are using in between the trees is implemented in the right ways.
What about flipping that and the trees damaging what's going to be installed?
Yes, and so our
the
play
roots
equipment, So also alongside that, we're doing play advisory as well. So all of our play has zones around all of the play equipment to make sure that basically we've got safety. We're looking at things like the trees as well, to ensure that all of those things have got major sort of zones that sit around them. So we've got in our more wider tender documentation, we've got quite detailed plans that sort of undertake where all of the zones are for trees, for play, for paths, connectivity, all of those types of things. So yeah, in our tender documentation that we do produce for this, we'll have quite rigorous detail around a lot of those elements.
The concerns raised by the Mayor were flagged along right at the beginning of the planning process as well. We were concerned that the risk of both ends of this, the risk profile can't be removed entirely. We expressed our concern about the age of the tree, what the tree suite, what the future might look like in terms of storm damage and the viability of them going forward. So thank you for getting those arborist reports done. We've got a couple of those arborist reports done. So for the council to understand those risk profiles and for them to be able to make the decision accordingly. So yes, I'd say that there are risks at both end of that around the trees, that the construction of these things could affect the trees, and also that the trees could affect them as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a reality. Yes. So that's something for the council to consider.
I had a question with regards to, I think my biggest concern is going from this initial park design of 8 million with the adjusted prices to 2 and a bit. How much equipment are our kids missing out on that was initially part of the plan? I'm just concerned that for the sake of keeping the design beautiful, we're actually just going to get less stuff to play on, and that's sort of the point of a park. And so I'd be interested in a list of the stuff that has been pulled out more specifically. I wrote down those ones, but is there we've gone from 6 swings to 3 swings, or because we've got 4 swings at the moment and they're often all occupied. And so I'm just going, how much are we cutting out of this that's actually going to impact the usability of the park?
Yeah, for sure. We do have a list from where we started to where we've got to, Susan? Based on all of our budget stuff.
It's like 5 million you managed to cut, which is significant. So I'm going like, water plays 1 million. Where's the other 4 million?
Most of it was in those other 2 stages. So we had a cut stage. We had new paths right around the outside. We had bleachers next to the the third basketball court, all of that, to create the mounds and stuff, we were moving an awful lot of topsoil. You've got 400 mils of topsoil on Carrington Park, so that in itself is a very costly exercise. Just all those little bits just add up. The water play, the pump shed that went with the water play. We did actually have a few changes to the car park, so taking all that out. We have thought very carefully and considered about how we got to here. So most of that stuff in 1A is still the same. And it's like your flying fox, your water play that's gone, your relocation of your cricket nets.
The light swing was
The light
amazing.
swing, yeah.
It was one of my favourites that I wanted to keep in. We took that out. So
Yeah.
I think the point you raised, Grace, though, is a good one in that we did this amazing community consultation work, which was really cool and like dream big, this is the thing. But have we spent time at the park, seeing what parts of the park are used? And it's the same with the question about the car parking. Like, do we know what is the well used, the people who actually go to the park, what do they actually want from the park? Because it looks amazing, like the plan's amazing, but do we actually know what is going to be used and what is a priority for the community?
Yeah.
When you take away the
sure.
big
engagement that was done, there was the dream big, what do you want? But then there was also the equipment was thrown out and they were up on the boards and you got to go along. So all of the people that were coming to that and the workshops that they were doing at the park, they had all of these up and they were going, oh, those, we would like those, we would use those, we wouldn't use those. And that's all been collated to form what equipment we're putting in.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. And another question around the equipment, just knowing what's been happening with the toilets down there.
Yeah.
Risk around people coming and trashing them. Are they untrashable things?
But I mean,
I'm sure there's a better way to phrase it, but you know what I mean.
yes, I think, Clint, do you want to add back to what we were talking about earlier, alongside the toilets and the conversation around the maintenance and the vandalism?
That's the word I was
The trends of vandalism,
Yeah.
what that looks like.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a seasonal thing. It comes in spats. It's most noticeable in the summer months over the school holiday period. And that's to do with the longer days and people being bored and stuff like that. I wouldn't, I personally wouldn't recognise the current situation as being abnormal. I recognise that as normal. It's just a seasonal thing. I don't perceive that we're under extraordinary attack vandalism space, even though there have been some social media posts about the state of the toilets. That's something I think, from my perspective, it's the different things.
Mm.
What people do in the toilets during the day and what happens with the vandalism in the park are sort of separate things, separate issue. That's my perspective on that.
Okay.
I think what you were really asking is this stuff pretty tough?
Yeah.
And I guess
Generally, yeah. And I think when you create something new, and you can get a bit of community ownership, it takes on a different perspective.
Yeah.
Has that been forecast in this around the potential maintenance cost of what this might be moving forward? Because that's something that we need to take into consideration as well, the ongoing operational cost of this park upgrade.
We can get expected lives from the supplier with some of this equipment and stuff, and send that back if you like.
May I also say that when you've got degraded assets, it sort of attracts bad behaviour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you uplift your environment, people take a bit more care of it. A bit more respect.
Yeah, I was just thinking in terms of cost as well, like you mentioned. I know bark in places it's got to be a certain depth and it compresses pretty quickly. So things like that, if we can factor all of that into,
Yeah, so the bits and pieces like bark just comes into our BAU maintenance budgets, and we'll have aspects in our maintenance budget for repairs. It would just be, and depreciation would be added onto that as well for some of the equipment. Yeah.
so. You've got, getting back to numbers, you've got 2.8 million
2.1.
Well, yeah, but with the skate park,
Sorry.
I mean, during the skate park, yeah.
with the skate park, call it 3 human.
Yeah.
But you're suggesting a couple of hundred of that might come from the skating people,
So they're committed to fundraising.
and that there may be some other external funding.
Yeah.
Because we're putting in 2, call it 2.
Yeah.
There's some prospect we may get a reasonable amount of the rest of it.
We'll get an amount. I don't know if it would be reasonable. We would go into a funding pool alongside the rest of New Zealand on putting in opportunities. But I think the fact that we've invested heavily and we've got the CLDP plan behind us with all of that work that's been done, I think DAA would be encouraged to see that we've continued with that plan and investing into this. So I would be optimistic that we will receive something, but how long is a piece of string?
And we wouldn't know that till the middle of next year.
Yeah.
Question following on from Steve's around if we were going to rely on hopefully 200,000 being fundraised from the skate park youth group. Would the plan be that we do the skate park and then cross our fingers that 200k shows up in our bank account, or the skate park's not touched until that money's there? Or is this not a conversation?
That would end up being like the funding would have to be up front, wouldn't it? Otherwise, we're asking for funding to come through when it's already been done.
Yeah. So it probably leads into the staging approach of the skate park. And it leads into when do we tie in this work? Ideally, it would be fantastic to do the whole thing in one go. That's one interruption to the community, and then we get an amazing skate park and playground. But realistically, we might have to break it into doing the playground and then doing the skate park, or hoping that funding comes through in time to keep the momentum going. Yeah.
Overall, the numbers that you're talking about, I'm just thinking they just put a new skate park in Greytown,
Yes.
and they're talking about, as you mentioned before, revamping the bits in Masterton.
Yeah.
Those two things together, like 3 times what we're talking about here, or at least maybe twice.
Yeah.
So this.
Skate park in Greytown was over $1 million.
Yeah.
We did have conversations with our skate park user group around the need for us to have a skate park in Carrington Park, given that we've got one in Masterton and one in Greytown. And where we came back to with that is that the users that use our Carterton skate park don't have the opportunity to jump in the car or jump on the bus and go either direction. They're the younger users. The other thing that we've been talking with South Wairarapa, and Bex is online, so she might be able to jump on and talk about it, was a skate and play trail through our communities. Are you there, Bex?
Sure am. So one of the things we were talking about was creating a regional map of essentially destination playgrounds and destination, like a skate trail that kids can come over and spend the weekend exploring the region, whether it's playing or skating or scootering, wheeling, anything on wheels that you can get onto that skate park. So there was, this was a combined, a regional Nuku Ora meeting. We meet every 6 weeks and we discuss where we can work together and where we can promote recreational activity more together. So there was conversation about creating something like that as part of, and including Carterton in the mix.
Very good.
Oh, no. Is the amounts of money we're talking about don't seem too bad to me relative to what's been talked about around the rest of the.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the question, I was just trying to check you up.
Awesome. Answers aren't online yet, but I might wrap up with WSP if there's any other questions that you've got for Susan and Ashley before they go.
Just thank you
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
in presenting.
No, you're definitely welcome.
No worries at all.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Ash.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, thanks, guys. All right. See you later.
It olds.
Yeah. It's attraction.
So thanks, guys.
So that is that's faster than the skate park they built.
Encouraging people.
So the skate park was funded 1.3 million from the government, and then the council paid 640, and then it blew over budget $300,000.
Yeah.
So the first project was 1.9 million for theirs.
Oh, I could anyway.
It's a big announced. Yeah.
Just hope, what we do.
10.6 down by your house.
Be underwhelming.
Yeah. Fucking right.
No, I think
So we can just carry on and I'll start thinking about it, then Ants can jump in.
Yep, sounds good. Is everyone happy if Glenda just carries on and Ants can just join when he comes online?
So the background for the skate park group, as I said, they formed in 2022 following the community consultation with the Carrington Park plan. So with the Carrington Park plan, they were looking at putting in skate elements through the boardwalk and right throughout the park area. But the avid skaters in our community felt like we needed more focus on our skate aspect. So they formed their user group, the Carrington Park Skate Park user group, and they have been working with Acid Skate Design to design this aspect. So this came to council, I think, December last year, and we just signed off as we've noted, we've received this report and they were going to continue. So at that point, they went out for community consultation over the summer period and have been talking to the community, going into schools, doing surveys, just making sure that their design is in line with what our community were thinking. So this is the basic concept of it. The big bowl is the area that's going to come into the basketball area. So they've shifted the whole thing around, and this is probably why we need Ants here, because I'm not a skater. All the lumps and bumps and the angles and everything are skate function friendly. Skate, scooter and bike function friendly. So not just focusing on the skaters. This here, oh God, that picture looks awful up there. Turn your head. This is coming down. So it comes into line with where the bike track finishes. Go. Ants. Yeah. Hi, Ants.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Not bad, thank you.
Welcome to Carterton Council again.
Hey, good to see you guys.
So Ants, which we can't see very well because we've got the projector up, is skate park designer and man that knows everything. I might hand over to you, Ants, and just give them a bit of an update on the design and how you've landed on what you've landed on.
Yeah, well, we've been working with the Carterton user group in Glenda for a few years now and gone through a few different revisions with the site and kind of landed on the current design based on an assortment of factors. It was a challenging site with the space and the trees, and then we had a pretty significant brief from the user group, and we've kind of feel that this current design we're sitting on now, which I think is the third or fourth revision, is actually a good solid kind of compromise for fitting in a real nice mid-level park in the space that's there. So I guess the brief was to look at having a bowl which was a little bit bigger and slightly more modernized than the one that was there, and throughout the process the discussions led towards kind of relocating that to the lower section of the space to optimize the remaining space for a really nice mid-level street course, which you can kind of see is those two defined areas there. All in all, I think from the feedback from the user group, they seem pretty stoked for where it's landed. Kind of incorporates quite a good number of beginner to mid-level features, but there's still enough legs in the design for seasoned skaters to get in there and feel challenged and be able to progress as well. So yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that's kind of I don't know if there's some specific stuff you guys would like me to speak to regarding the design and what's in it and stuff like that, or
yeah. Linda, and so Steve here, the Mayor. I've just got a couple of questions just around how the size and scope of this compares to what's just been completed in Greytown, because this seems quite a large skate area, well, for cyclists and any kind of wheels type of, just how that compares, and the budget of 730K. Are we really confident that we're going to fit this into 730K?
So before you jumped online, Ant, sorry, we just had a high-level conversation around the estimates. So we've taken the estimates that you've provided and put contingency on there to just talk about the general figure of the 730 that we've landed on.
Yeah, well, first of all, touching base to the design side of it, generally we look at, there's a few different ranges when you look at skate parks. You've got destination parks, obviously, like the big one that's going in Kilburney, and then Greytown, which is a good solid mid-level park. This one sits at, I think, 660 squares, or just in and around that range. And once you start getting below about 500 square meters, it starts getting quite difficult for a park to function well, just because the use, in order for it to work well, you need space for entering and exiting each of these features. So you'll kind of see that with the longitude of the design there's space at either end of the core features. There's that central drop that comes down, and you've got a landing area and also a setup area kind of either side of that. So although you look at a park and it seems quite big, often like this is really toned quite tight for its spacings, and you need 7 plus 8 meters of landing space coming off a lot of these features with this kind of speed that guys will be hitting them at. So I mean, overall, we've tried to design the park in a very longitude way so that its footprint was optimized as far as what we could fit in. The lines of travel are kind of back and forth. It allows you to get a couple of feature lines from end to end. We did several reviews with the user group on space and trying to trim down size and kind of working towards that target budget figure that they gave us. And yeah, if we were to keep all of the features, including the bowl that's there, I think this is probably about the smallest that we could go without it becoming tight and sacrificing some of the actual functionality of the space. Having the bowl as a separate entity at the end and tying them together kind of helped to link the spaces and give you the feeling of a bigger park, even in a smaller area, because it's not a lot bigger than the existing. I mean, it is a significant jump in size, but not enormously bigger than the feel of the space that's there.
And do you know the size of the Greytown Park?
I do not actually. I've not been to the Greytown Park yet. I'm currently in the South Island. I've been down here since May. I will be heading back up. I'm actually heading up this afternoon. So there's a couple of parks on my list to have a look at on the way back to Hamilton, and that was actually one of them.
In your design there, just looking at it, there's no half pipes, is there? I thought that would have been quite a desirable feature for a skate park.
Well, incorporated into the bowl, there you can kind of see there's a section where there is a small half pipe incorporated into it, where you can ride that back and forth as opposed to necessarily just skating it in a circular motion as a bowl. So yeah, it was purely one of those ones where space and the budget and the brief dictated a bowl was a very key part of what they wanted, and there really wasn't space and budget to have a bowl and a standalone half pipe. So yeah,
Okay.
trying to come up with a multi-function setup in that bowl.
The only danger of that is conflict of interest between people who want to skate around the bowl as opposed to using the half pipe part of it.
Yes, correct. But normally these kind of features, people tend to create it tends to be a one person in at a time. There's kind of a etiquette, or for lack of a better word, like an agreed method of how a bowls are skated. And you normally find most people who skate or scooter or bike on a regular basis kind of get that, hey, it's my turn, I go, the next person goes,
Okay.
Just looking at the drawings, I'm not sure you see the same thing, but that's the same thing from different ends, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Been confused here.
Yeah, so we just wanted to show this end here with the handrail around the side of it is somewhere that we can reduce costs. So we can berm up to that and eliminate the use for handrails. So that was one of the areas that we did identify where we could do some cost saving.
Just looking at the overall design, I think it looks pretty good, but I'm just wondering, the raised area, which is taking over part of the existing skating rink, it's going to block the view from the road back towards the bike safety park. I'm just wondering if the whole thing can be reversed around the other way to put the raised area down the other end, and it would open up the park a little bit more. Is there any reason why it's been designed that way?
You going with that? You're gonna sorry. So there is reasons, and a lot of that to do with the trees, and keeping that bowl out of that tree element. So currently our bowl just fills with acorns, fills with trees, fills with dirt, and a lot of it is around bringing that out away from that tree line. But there was some technical things that Ants was saying, which probably he could answer a lot better than I could, around the other reason of why they've moved it out into this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Glenda, I've probably just from what Ants has mentioned and the distances that are required, I'm just thinking this is being designed for adults to participate, to ensure that they have the room to enjoy this skate park.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I get that, but we're talking about adults who could potentially go to one of our who can drive.
Yeah.
And go to our neighbouring parks where they're expansive and can do a lot more than this one.
Yeah, so the user group is adults, but they are parents, and they are designing it. The way they looked at it was that there was beginner to intermediate style skate area, with some elements in there that are a little bit more technical to try and cater for everybody. You back, Ants?
Yeah, I do apologise. Something on my computer did something weird and it went into restart itself over. So I do apologise about that.
Steve was just asking around the elements and the size. Sorry, do you want to rehash your question?
And so I was just asking around, I'm thinking about costs and I'm thinking about the time frame that it might take the skate park group to actually raise funds towards this. And just the ease for the adults to actually jump in a vehicle and go to a neighbouring park, which already is constructed for adults as well. And I'm thinking about, you mentioned about constraining it more, you wouldn't want to go under 500 square metres. How much cost are we talking about if it was reduced to 500 square metres? So let's say it didn't cater for the adults as such, but it reduced the price enough so they didn't have to find $200,000. Are we talking that level of reduction in cost if it wasn't stretched out?
Yeah, we had floated the idea of a staged build, which often is something that we will bring up if budget is tight and or there is issues regarding the progression of funding over time, and we had floated the idea of removing the bowl section of the park. And it has been designed in a way that it could be separated and essentially future-proofed for additional construction later in the piece. It would involve a little bit of redraw on how the features at the edge of the bowl that interact with the street section work. It would give us a significant portion of savings for that first stage. As you can see, the bowl's quite a decent chunk of construction. There's a fairly decent amount of concrete, earthworks, drainage, and like associated parts in there. Without having the QS go through it all, I mean, off the cuff, I would say that it would be a good solution if you had to go down the route of, okay, hey, we don't have the funding for now. The park would still be able to function as a complete skate park. It would just be a street section only, as opposed to a street and transition park.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully that answered the question.
Yep.
Any other skate park questions?
Well, just following on from that, so the user group, I'm guessing, aren't keen to stage it. They're wanting to have the cake and the bowl.
The user group want their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
They want everything.
Yeah.
And they are probably resistant to change.
Yeah.
We have had we've had quite a few conversations with them around everything that we've talked about today. So size and shape and how we're going to work it and how we can reduce costs. They and as Ant said, we've done multiple revisions of this design. They've got this how they want this, and they are committed to delivering this to the full extent. We've talked with them around different options, and we've talked about just shrinking it to a $500,000 so it fits within our budget and we can deliver our whole outcome. They're not probably prepared to budge on that. But we did meet with them last week and had the conversation around the staging, and they are open to the idea of staging. So what they've suggested is that they'll continue to do their fundraising for that 200,000. And if that doesn't come through by the time we're ready to go to tender, then we can look at that staging aspect. That's their view on that. There's obviously work that we would need to do and we would have to ask Ants to do to make that a reality as well. So we might have to look at those options there as well.
One of the things I think we need to consider too, and this is only my perspective, is why do we have an expectation on the skate park group to actually raise 200,000 towards it? Because if we're going to be looking at spending, I don't know, these are discussions we're going to have $2.2 million on the remainder of the park. Why are we forcing the skate park users to come up with $200,000? And I think that's a fair question that we should all be asking ourselves as well, because it's not just a skate park user group that's going to be using this, it's going to be the whole community. So it's beneficial to everyone. So that's just my...
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, I mean, this is our asset and it is our responsibility. But this is the skate park component of it has been a community-led process. So they've designed this design and they had committed to the process before we'd committed to our funding for this process. Mm-hmm. So we've been trying to make sure that they're on board and we're working with them and we continue to support what the community has said that they wanted. But at some point there probably has to be a sacrifice in their design and their view versus what we want to deliver to our community. Yeah.
And that goes across the whole thing that's proposed today.
Yeah. What kind of saving is removing the rail and building up? Is that a significant difference?
In the back for the handrail?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we were to berm up, I mean, usually the last kind of rail we did in and around that stage without the SOP in front of me and you know, firm quotes, it was around 40 grand by the time it was installed. You know, they're a fairly expensive component, you know, handrails. Often we try, if possible, to berm around those areas to reduce the fall risk, and then that also kind of helps with that savings, you know. And it keeps the park rail open as well, you know. People can access from all dimensions and directions and stuff. But yeah, there would be some savings there. So I think if you really are looking to find a way to bring it into your budget without them needing to come up with that extra money, the staging option is probably the one that's the most bang for buck. It does have its challenges though. Surrounding that would be how the second stage was constructed once the rest of the park was completed. So it just might mean that some of the methodology in round two would be a bit different as far as getting truck access and how things worked. You know, instead of using conventional fill, you might have to use polystyrene block or something that was less disruptive to a finished playground and sports area and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of raises a question though. Mm-hmm. Would the whole skate park have to move further into the rink because you've got the bike park directly behind this, and if you're talking about berming up, you don't have room?
Yeah, well, that is why we originally drew the handrail. We in the early stages, we were provided several not to exceed outlines, aerial outlines of where the absolute critical boundaries were on the park. And we've essentially come up with the shape of the park based on those boundaries, due to tree drip lines. And then obviously, like you mentioned, the crossover space with the bike track behind. And then there was some hope that in the redesign of the playground space and the connecting areas, we may be able to do some AstroTurf connections or some kind of soft fall or something that helped blend those together. But it was always very tight.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ants. Really appreciate you coming online.
No problem. Hopefully it's been helpful. I'm not great at public meetings, so.
No, you've done wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
No problem. Any other information that you guys need from us, please let us know, and we're more than happy to get it to you. And as I mentioned to Glenda on the phone the other day, we're just really excited to see something cool go in the community, and we would love to work with as many local contractors as we can on this, and just really have it be a cool asset for your guys' community, you know.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Take care. Have a good New
Merry
Year.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, Glenda.
That's right.
Before you might want to talk about the toilet block. I've just got a question around where we're at with this, because as Steve Ells finally pointed out, we're probably sitting around 3 million. So it's $1 million over what we talked about. In our financial reserves, as such to do with parks and reserves, we were told that we had around $4 million in total. So do we have access to another $1 million to add to this $2 million to make this possible, rather than it goes on rates?
I need to check. There was two possible sources of funding. One being the parks and reserves funds that we have received as part of subdivision development, so financial contributions. And I thought there may also be some depreciation. Either the two of those may be available. I just need to confirm whether or not the depreciation reserve did relate to parks and reserves, and it wasn't facilities and buildings.
Yeah.
Because we would need to keep that for the facilities. But I'd be happy to check that. If that's something you want us to consider, options around expanding the initial council decision of 2 million, I'm more than happy to do that.
For me, I think we need to have that ability, because I mean, we already know we're over the $2 million anyway. So we need that extra, even if the skate park was pushed to the side, which to me is a little bit unfair, we still need $160,000 anyway. So
I agree with you, Steve. I also would like to think that if user groups are actually contributing financially, they take more ownership of it and they will look after it, respect it a hell of a lot better than they would if they haven't put any finances into it. I'm just would be mindful of that. I don't know how you do that with the playground equipment, but
I agree with you, Brian. I'm just wondering whether $200,000 is
make or break.
Yeah, and let's say they raise $30,000. I think that's fantastic. So are we putting a hell of a lot of pressure on them to raise a certain amount? But I mean,
but they are also dictating to us of how it's
telling us what they want.
Yeah.
I told them here's our budget, so that's why they're raising the. Yeah.
I agree, but the community also told us what they want with the car pipeline.
Well, they told the government magic fund of money what they wanted.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's a new reality.
Yep.
And I'm conscious of the fact that the reserves fund that has grown because of great stewardship of a pot of money, there could be other uses for that money as well. And we've got a row of trees that you pointed out that are potentially dodgy down in Wainawa. And I'm sure you could point to other things where that money could be spent, and throwing more and more into a bougie park design might not be exactly what that $4 million should be all used up for.
I think we need those options put to us.
Sure, those towers could be built cheaper than that. It's a lot of money for 2 towers.
It always amazes me how much things cost.
That's the trouble with going bespoke.
Over a skate park and 2 towers, they're about the same cost. When you look at it like that.
But then you got no play equipment because it's the play equipment that needs to be upgraded in Carrington Park.
I think there's also an aspect of what we're doing here, which talks about kind of a gateway to Carterton or a centrepiece for people coming through, place to stop, something that looks quite cool rather than a couple of swings in it.
That adds value to the whole town and all of the businesses, because I think creating something that's got a bit of a feature like that does create more the place to stop, doesn't it? Yeah.
But again, we're directly competing with our neighbours on both fronts now, because they've just committed to spending millions of dollars this year or this next year, and they're rebuilding the park that was built when I was a little kid. And Greytown have just spent a couple million. They got 3 million or 4 million. I was just seeing that they're planning to do a feature park. So then, again, we're all just pushing in the same direction, with limited rates funding.
What was the lifespan of the towers that she saw?
She didn't
say, but I mean, anything timber and in ground, 30 plus.
Yeah. So Master was built 26 years ago, and that's wood.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably better construction now than it was 30 years ago too.
Yeah.
You would anticipate 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
You could anticipate. Is that acceptable?
That's one generation. Yeah. Yeah, I would say from a mum's perspective who's at the park every other day, sometimes twice a day, the skate park doesn't get used at all at the moment. It sits there empty a lot of the time. And I love the fact that a local user group is passionate and wanting to drive something forward. But I think if we have to find cost cutting, that would be where I'd be cutting the costs. I don't see the use of it currently. And Greytown have just built one 2 months ago. 1 month ago, it's just opened. Masterton just built one. Government spent millions of dollars on that. That blew out in cost. It feels like that could be an area where our town could still get a really cool park, but not quite as much space for doing the tricks on the boards.
So would smaller kids use the streetscape part of the bowl rather than the bowl? So if we took the bowl out, the kids could still use the other part
to race around on bikes. And they use the little, traffic light area.
Yeah.
They go around that lots, but the other part does just sit empty.
It's hard with the argument for the skate park, because I agree, it's always empty. But then if you apply the argument to be about a cycleway and say no one's rides their bike, say we haven't got a good cycleway yet, so of course no one's riding their bike. So it's a tricky argument. It's a hard one, but I agree. You're down there and there's no one on that skate park, and there's broken glass in the middle of the bowl half the time. Yeah. Tricky.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the toilet block?
No, I really don't. Do you want to come and join us for this one?
They will come.
The vandals will come.
There's a double aspect to what we're going to talk about with the toilets. So yes, and Clint mentioned earlier, there's vandalism, and there's Facebook messages, and there's broken locks, and there's all of that. There's also another community group that's really amazing in our community, and that's Keep Carterton Beautiful group, that do amazing work and want to make sure our town is as beautiful as possible. And they approached us, serendipitously, they approached us at the same time that we'd put funding in to do some upgrade work to Carrington Park toilets. So through the long-term plan, we had a business case up for replacing the Carrington Park toilets and putting in a new block. We didn't get that across the line, but we have put in some investment to get it up to make it better than what it currently is. So current on this side and proposed on that side. So we've removed the planter boxes and the pergola. Pergola's gone down to Morton Road Reserve, and Keep Carterton Beautiful group are planting roses and everything up around there. So repurposed. Originally, that's all come from a bridge out in Gladstone. So what we're proposing to do on this side is brighten up what the toilets look like on the outside, do some repairs and maintenance on the inside and brighten it up on the inside as well. So this is a mock-up of where we're landing. So really making a nod to the events and everything that happened during the day and everything that happens during the night in our district. And that work is taking place early next year. So we've got painters coming in and just tidying up some bits and pieces. We'll have some work done to the roof. There's some tidying up that we need to do on the building on the outside to get the wrap put on. And then the inside is going to be getting some new
Graphics.
graphics on the inside, but they're going to be putting up a new board on the
Yeah,
inside.
new ACM panel.
Mounting the new ACM panel and mounting some graphics on the inside that will hopefully lift the look and feel of what was quite a dreary looking toilet block. The flip side of that is the maintenance and the graffiti, and you constantly hear and see on Facebook about cleanliness and all of that. And we think it's a double-sided thing. So the not build it and they will come for Carrington Park toilets. Hopefully we lift the bar and everybody else around the community lifts the bar as well.
And we lock it at night times. Just saying.
Agree. It's a trial.
Well, that's where trialism occurs, isn't it?
It's not a change in
Trial.
anything, is it, for trial it?
See what happens to vandalism when it's locked at night.
Yeah.
Is
Especially over the summer school holidays, like you just said, long days, people get antsy.
okay, what if we start to see an impact? We see PCs in the gardens and around the park. That's what a trial is supposed to find out, though, isn't it? Sorry? If you lock it at night and you start getting that. Yeah, exactly. We can observe what happens. Yeah. Is that what we want to do?
Yep.
I reckon.
You don't want to have that.
We could have good signage and direct them. It's just Memorial Square. Oh, would we open another 24 hours?
Yeah, so the only one 24-hour toilet. So out of that whole toilet block, we only have one toilet open out 24/7. The doors are on an automatic lock, so automatically the rest of them lock and the one stays open.
Is that where all the problems are?
That's where some of the problems are.
Okay.
Most of the problems happen throughout the whole toilet facility. But it's really hard to pinpoint who's doing what and when. But the 24-hour toilet is probably hit more than the rest of it.
It's vulnerable. It gets hit. There's a pattern going on around the region, actually, and it seems to happen on full moons. Last full moon, there was a couple of guys who went around town and bombed the entire town. We went around and they've got a tag called Safe and Iris, and that tag's in Wellington all the way up. God knows where it ends, but it's all around Carterton. There we go. That was the night after the full moon, and we painted it out. Those major attacks impact us in the form of taking us away from other jobs to address these. And that type of job there would cost us about $1,000 to remedy just the loss of time.
But just in regards to that one, the overnight toilet that we do leave unlocked, is there a way of making that more resilient?
Yes.
Inside it.
Well, also what I've noticed is some of the fittings inside the toilets are stainless steel and they're quite expensive to replace. And we're replacing them maybe 3 or 4 times a year, some of them. What we did is replace the stainless steel soap holder with the cheapest plastic soap holder you could buy, and they haven't been touched. What do you do? You'd think they'd be more fragile. Yeah, exactly. You'd think that they're up for it, but haven't been touched. But the stainless steel ones, always getting broken into, smashed, and doors pulled.
do you line, as Steve said, do you make one toilet, the vandal-proof one, and that's the
And then
24
lock the
hours?
others.
And concrete block the inside of it and put a couple of recesses for the soap and.
Just fit it out with the
and
cheap
the
plastic
toilet,
fittings.
Yeah, or just use concrete recesses or something. I don't know, just something that's not going to get.
This must be a universal problem across the country.
Well, it will be.
And
Yeah.
so what have other councils done and what has worked and what hasn't worked? I'm sure that.
Wellington's suit.
Yeah.
$2.1 million.
Oh, you do a disco one. Yeah.
Music and lights.
Yeah.
Seriously, that have
Exactly. I mean, it's all about budget.
I wouldn't.
Self-cleaning ones you could do, but put a coin, pay to get into them and access them.
And pay to get out.
listen to the song.
Yeah, vandal, I'm not going to get out.
Yeah. I would say we're not impacted to that point that you have to really seriously consider closing them. I think that, the frequency of attacking the 24-hour toilet doesn't warrant that. I think the risk to, and the convenience for people, for travellers going through town, and the risk of a biohazard appearing around our park and that,
Yeah.
in that vicinity. I still think it's worth a trial because you only have to try it for a week or a month or whatever and just see. Okay. Because we can think what might happen, but until we actually try it, we really don't know. And actually, I don't really mind if a traveller thinks, shit, I'm going to have to go to Greytown. So what?
They might.
Matters our feet. Yeah. The town's reputation.
They might think shit too.
The truckies use that one though because it's got good parking. Whereas Greytown doesn't.
Yeah, I've seen them like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
And run back there.
Yeah.
Nice place to pull up.
So that's something to consider.
Yeah, milk tankers.
Milk tankers.
Yeah.
For me, worst case scenario is closing it. If we can try and make it more robust and put cheaper fittings in it so that it reduces that cost, because we've got to be accepting of some maintenance costs from vandals and stuff over the year.
But there is an alternative. It's not as though there's not an alternative, as I understand it, right? And again, a trial is a trial. And it might be, it's just not worth it, let's keep it open. I think it's just worth a trial.
I don't think you want the alternative in the kids' playground though.
I
So
think
you have to consider.
there's another alternative as well, and that's moving it. So making the Memorial Square toilet the 24-hour toilet and then locking the Carrington Park toilets. It does have an impact for the truckies, that the parking becomes another issue, but it also takes the 24-hour toilet away from Carrington Park where there's.
That's where the damage is happening, isn't it? It's Carrington Park.
Yeah.
The truckies could pull up in the bus park at 2 o'clock in the morning and just run across the Memorial Square.
Square and the tankers.
Yeah.
Is the Memorial Square toilets, they're still susceptible?
They're still going to be susceptible. Yeah.
Because I've been told that they're not as great. I thought they were fantastic, but I've heard that they're not as great as what I thought they were, just for cleanliness and so forth. So they just don't get photographs taken because they're not in Carrington Park and it's not occurring as often. They don't get thrown on Facebook.
And I think also a trial is only really appropriate if we know that the vandalism is occurring at night. If the vandalism is occurring during the day as well, then there probably won't be all that much to be gained from it. Most of the vandalism is occurring during the day. And it's not just occurring in the 24-hour toilet. The 24-hour toilet frequency of attack is infrequent, but it has an impact in terms of it. It costs about $1,000 to deal with that when it happens. But the other instances in the other toilets have happened during the day. So you can't, that's what that looks like. So why is it that the Carrington Park one gets so vandalised compared to Memorial Square?
The usage of it.
It's a social gathering spot. More people tend to gather in that area. And you've got people living on either side of the Memorial Square ones too. In those two buildings.
We have cameras on the outside of the toilets.
We do. Yeah. So we've got cameras on the outside of the toilets, and we've got cameras within the park area. So the cameras do show people entering and exiting, but
You don't know if they're the ones doing the damage.
Yeah.
If they're going in with sledgehammers, it's a bit of a hint.
Giveaway. But if they're going in, pulling all the toilet paper out, wetting it and plastering the entire room full of toilet paper, which is what's happened this week, we don't know that. And we're not going to know that when they walk out of the toilet afterwards. But we also don't have the capability to sit there and watch the cameras 24/7 and keep an eye on people.
Is that what? Has Marston District Council got someone permanent cleaning their toilets now? Someone told me that they've got a permanent person.
Not sure what they do. So our cleaners go in every morning and clean every morning. So if and it's roughly anywhere between 6 or 7 and 9 o'clock in the morning. They'll get cleaned daily. If anything happens, and a lot of the times when it comes on social media that there's feces somewhere, that's happened post the cleaners being in, and then the parks team have to pick up and do some pretty crappy jobs, unintended.
You see, Carrington Park toilets, I still think, I still think a trial of closing it at night's worth it, because they have to be open during the day. With the people at the park, and that's what they're there for. You've got kids there and all that sort of stuff, but I still think it's worth a shot just to see if any behavioural change occurs. There's no cost to it.
But if that toilet is not predominantly being damaged that night,
this is what we're going to find out, though.
Well,
we're being told that, but it's not being.
They know when the damage is occurring, and they know where it's occurring.
You say it's infrequently happening.
Once a month.
So and you said $1,000, so that's $12,000.
Well, yes. Well, when I said once a month over the summer period.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say this is every month. Like, definitely not. We've had probably this year 2 attacks. So, and the last one, when I say $1,000, that equates to the amount of time. That's probably 6 hours that it took to repaint the entire inside of that room, that one toilet. Do all the toilets are equally susceptible in Carrington Park? Are all the booths equally susceptible to the vandalism, or are they picking on any particular one?
They're equal.
Okay, so here's another thought. Close a couple of them down at night, leave the others open.
But there's only one open.
Only one open out of the 4.
Oh, right. Okay, so is that the one being vandalised?
No, that's what he said.
Okay. All right. So really there is no point.
Basically, the cost, if we do close them all, is the cost of the labour of cleaning up the mess that's left elsewhere.
But we don't know necessarily
No,
that would happen.
no,
So
no.
we're guessing again. So the options are that you take it into account. You said it could be $1,000 a time, and it's probably going to pick up over summer. And it is something we could implement like tomorrow if we wanted to do a trial and give it a month. And then if there is feces in the park, cool, we can just
Cool.
undo it. We can. The trial didn't work. But if you're saying on average it is 12 times a year, that's a lot.
I wouldn't say average 12 times a year. I'd say a major graffiti attack like that, or the one that took place in the 24-hour toilet on that night, looks like $1,000. But I wouldn't say that that's happening every month in the 24-hour toilet. Not at all.
But Clint's saying it's not always nighttime, through the day too. So if you close all the toilets at nighttime, you're going to disadvantage all the truck drivers.
Yeah.
And you go to your place,
Quite often the vandalism is not major vandalism either. It's the little stuff. So the lock is broken and we get a phone call saying, oh, the lock is broken. And someone's broken the lock, but we just go down and we replace the lock and we carry on. Or the team are doing their...
Worse than that. I thought there was a lot of damage being done.
You're talking hinges and latches being damaged. Surely you can make something that's bulletproof.
So the soap dispenser that we have in there is pretty bulletproof, right? And that's the ones that have taken the biggest impact. They're the expensive ones that have been damaged extensively.
Yeah.
So we've started replacing with just the plastic soap dispenser like in those rooms, because it seems to me that we put in this anti-vandalism stuff.
It's just a challenge.
The challenge.
Roger that.
Yeah.
You're the one who repairs it all, right? Yep. And you're saying that you don't think there'd be much to be gained by doing a trial?
No, it's my opinion.
Would one of the advantages potentially be to show the community that we're doing something, and even as a communications opportunity to kind of say, hey, this is happening? Because there's a lot of flack, I think, on Facebook coming back at the council.
Yep.
Like, and almost to just say, hey, we're doing all these things now. We're going to trial closing this and maybe opening the other one, as you said. So there's still, but it's just saying, hey, we know this is happening.
It's not good enough.
We're trying, it's not good enough, and almost that does increase the community buy-in in some respects. Like, hey, if we're going to trash it, it's not going to be there. Or that would be one potential advantage.
There's another couple of things I was thinking of is that, I take graffiti, and we were saying before, I think the more upmarket something looks, the less likely it is to be graffitied. So painting is a good thing, but graffiti occurs mostly at night. Would that be fair? What I'm thinking about here is would most graffiti occurs after school when the kids are transitioning through the park. And as I say, like when it comes to vandalism at night and all that sort of stuff, light it up. The brighter something is, the less likely it is to be targeted because you're more likely to be seen. And I wonder what the lighting around the toilet is like. Would that help if we improved the lighting around there and made it quite bright? I mean, everyone will see you go in and everyone will see you come out, but hey, it may save a bit of vandalism.
That was one of the reasons why we got rid of the pergola at the front. There was what we're concerned with, and that is
increased visibility.
Yeah, it's called crime prevention through environmental.
On the left there, it looks dreadful, doesn't it?
It
looks like a graffiti's invite.
Taken one away and put another one up, painted it white.
No, sorry, the painting of it white is just to kind of show what it would look like if it wasn't there.
No, it wouldn't look like that.
Yeah.
You want to use AI.
This was before it all got removed.
Linda, are you able to provide us with what it might cost if we looked at increasing the cleaning of it to twice a day or 3 times a day?
I can do that.
I have no idea of what it costs to clean it once a day. Can we just have an idea of what it costs and we could make a decision to clean it twice a day?
Yeah, so our cleaning contract is all folded into one contract, so we don't have it itemised out as the public splits of this, but we can do some comparisons. And
I just think it's an option just for people, because some of the stuff is not about the vandalism, it's about the cleaning, the cleanliness of it.
Yeah, and another way we're going to improve communication with that, exactly that, what you just mentioned, Mr. Mayor, is we're going to install some signage on the outside of the toilets that'll inform people of when they were last cleaned. So these facilities were last cleaned at 7 a.m. on da-da-da-da-da, so they can see that, like on a daily basis. That's what we're about. We're planning on introducing that ASAP.
Could we put something in the toilets, like a QR code? We've talked about having a QR code for a service request. So if you go in there and you notice something's wrong, you could QR code it straight away. And then I know you don't want to be scouring the cameras, but like maybe if someone was alerting you straight away that something had happened, you could then
see who the person was before.
Yeah.
How do you know when someone?
But you could even have that on the signage. Be like, the QR code is here. We encourage all residents to report something immediately. We have cameras around the toilets, and we will be
monitoring it, even if you're not.
Yeah,
It's a communication.
But some people might be inclined to do that, and the most will just want to go in there and do their business and leave. And then how do you know that it is the person
But
that
I mean,
you're
that's
putting it
fine.
back on?
That's totally fine. But it's a threat. Yeah, it's a threat. There's cameras and people are reporting anything that they see in the toilet.
I think Wellington Council had a thing whereby you had an app on your phone if you wanted to put one on. But as soon as you see anything, you can take a photo and just send it to the council.
Yeah, so it's basically the same, but you have to download an app.
Yeah, look at that crap on the wall.
Yeah, someone can man those pictures.
Imagine those photos.
It's like coming through our council agendas.
Good for the public.
I don't know, there's just going to be something else that we can do to be seen to be doing.
And I agree with what Jane's saying. Just be seen to be doing something. And
so you have to like chuck a sign up.
But I think that's on us a little bit too. It's the rhetoric that we put out there that we don't think is good enough. we've got to have some of that communication ourselves.
Be saying that.
Yep.
The other thing that would be really handy is when you're talking to the area commander of the police and or police locally and just encouraging more presence in Carterton. So they're here during the day, which is fantastic. But how frequently are they travelling in the evenings and keeping an eye on things?
They just prosecuted a person in the South Island responsible for 500 tags over about 2 years.
Gosh.
These characters that I just mentioned are in that.
Mm.
Do we have much of a vandalism, of a tagging problem compared to
These
the
guys.
other towns?
Specifically, these guys, the safe is
Through
absolutely
periods,
This one here.
and we've got it up distract.
Yeah.
Even down
With their
and you see them right in Carrington as well.
graffiti. No, that's, that as soon as it's painted, that's the best thing. I say, the more you see. Because they like their tag to be up for around Wellington.
Yes, that is really hard to keep on top of that all of the time. So that's what Clint was saying before. This example, this tag and this repaint was done within 24 hours.
Yeah.
But that comes at a cost of staff having to drop what we were going to be doing that day to focus on that.
Yeah, prevention is better, but you
Yeah.
still have to, if you get a tag, you've got to
If we
hand over straight away.
the tagging, we address that immediately, and then we just kind of scale it down.
Yeah.
But also right through town, when there's tagging through town, on private businesses, that's not council's responsibility to fix that tag. We do the best we can to support our local businesses. So that one on the side of the hoo-ha building, that we couldn't get to. And they've picked that up and they've created that into an amazing mural. And that's cool. That's their business and that's their choice. So we will help out where we can. But it is the responsibility of the business owners to address it.
Yeah.
Still have a community patrol in Carterton? Someone asked me that the other day and I said, I don't know.
I'm not sure. There was a couple of years where they were quite bumpy.
Yeah.
But I don't know where they've landed recently. I haven't heard from them talking about last year.
You don't think it's still happening?
That's good at the moment.
So just to wrap this up, because we are getting to 12.
Yep.
What do you need from us, Glenda, in regards to what we've learnt this morning with Carrington Park and the skate park? And
I think I just wanted to make you aware of where we'd got to. I think the conversation that you were having was the perfect conversation because that's the conversation we've been having as well. And I think in February, I'll come back with a council paper around a few options. And I think those options for me are what we were already talking about. Do we stop doing stuff? Do we continue and invest more revenue? Do we look at staging options? I think the other thing that I would probably like you to think about is if we are leaning towards funding it going forward, it's probably around the timeframes as well. So we're almost at a point where we're ready to go out for tender and get this work done. I would like to have this done sooner rather than later, and we're leading into the time where we could, probably end of summer, we could be going out and looking at having this work done over that winter period and be open again for summer. If we are going out to funding DIA and Eastern Centrals, those timeframes for that funding may slow down the process. So even think about provisional funding, and then we can explore the possibility of other funders as well and community fundraising to reduce the costs. So just have a think about it. Yeah.
having some of those options come through just around the fanciful bits, because some of those fanciful bits provided a lot more interactive for the kids.
Yeah.
Just with the likes of, like down in Greytown, their new park in Kura to Fitty Street, where just they get to move discs around for weather and different things. It's rather than we've just got a tower and you can climb up one tower and go across a bridge to the next tower. Then to me, there needs to be some interactiveness within those towers. Otherwise, I just think we're missing out.
Yeah. And if we're completely off the mark with towers, we can look at other options, which probably would save costs as well. But I think going back to, it was the community that really drove that, which is where we wanted to continue it. So we didn't want to change the scope so far away of what the community had already said. Yeah, I can work with WSP on getting those probably more detailed costings of the towers.
Can I ask a question sort of left of field? With WSP, are they particularly bougie? Like, are we going for this?
It's a new word. It's the third time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Are they particularly high end? Are we going for the creme de la creme of parks and actually sticking with our budget? We could get a lot more if we just ditched WSP and got off the shelf playground equipment from. I've been Googling playground equipment stuff in New Zealand. I might start a new business. It looks quite interesting. But is there another way that we could be getting a lot of equipment for less than the space looks beautiful, and I like going to cool parks with my kids too. But I'm going, could we get more stuff for less if we just had a different provider?
Yeah, I think WSP, so they were the original, so we didn't want to then take their idea and go to somebody else and get them to pretty much with
concept
what they'd done. So the scope that we'd asked for from WSP was, how do we make what there's already been, all of this work that we've already done fit down to our budgets. And I think they're working really hard to make that possible. They have been fantastic around identifying cost saving areas, and I think they keep trying to make sure that they are on spec. But they have also said that we could be buying the product ourselves, and then that comes out of, so like we could buy a spinner tomorrow, and then that's obviously going to come off the cost. So when it gets to the point of purchasing equipment, we could do that separate to that and potentially get slightly different costings.
Okay, that's worth considering.
Especially if they're everything to do with it.
The challenge Glenda has found with Carrington Park is it's coming out of the ground. There's a huge proportion of the budget. What goes on top of the ground seems expensive, but is actually 30 to 40% of the overall budget. Coming out of the ground is sucking up more money than we would like, and that's our problem.
So have we looked at community groups and local contractors and builders and people like, are there people that we could be shoulder tapping saying, let's just get some work done that could reduce a whole bunch of that landscapey kind of cost? Like we've got local garden centres that might sponsor us the plants and stuff like I just feel like when you have a park, Masterton's a great example of all the fence posts, everyone chipped into it. I just wonder if there's options that we could be exploring to make sure that the right people are being offered to include their skills and services.
I think there's definitely options for that. I think so. What we were asking WSP was to get us to, this is how much it's going to cost, so that when we go to tender, we know this is how much. We don't want to go over budget at that point. But I think once we have got these figures, we're now at that sweet spot where we can go, we don't need to do that through the tender process. So there's a whole lot of work that's going to happen through the parks team doing it to drop out some costs. And then we can go line by line. We could talk to this community group or this business. That's, I think we're not there yet, but that'll be definitely something that we can work towards. And I think that's where you link in what community sponsorship and aspects.
Right.
Cool. Thank you very much.
The other thing around the toilet block is the costings. Are we still going to see what the vandalism costs are? Just so we've got an idea of.
It's really hard to pull out just the vandalism cost for just the toilets. So we do the vandalism as a whole, or it gets folded into maintenance or repairs or through their budgets. There is some work that we can do there, but I'm not going to be able to get that work done this year.
If it's going to be, I'm happy with Clint's idea that we don't go putting stainless steel crap in our toilets. Let's just put plastic shit in there and If
It's not absolute shit.
if our community want to break it, at least we know it's only going to cost $25
Yeah.
to replace instead of, yeah.
Yeah, so we.
So Clint's given us a really good idea how much it costs to deal with like significant tearing. So it's roughly $1,000, you know. Guys to repair that. We could do a whole lot of work and come up with a slightly more accurate number. Would it be more appropriate to just listen to what Clint's suggesting in terms of these costs, and we don't really measure them at this granular level, but it is time taken up by his Clint's team preparing this. In terms of the actual cost of replacing the dispensers is quite minor, and the door locks is quite minor. It's mostly about the time of your team. Would that be a fair approximation?
Yes.
So I guess my question is, do you want us to go away and do a whole lot more work where we might come up with an answer that's similar to what Clint's told you?
That's just kind of what I've said. If it's a whole lot more work for the vendor and we're not really going to achieve a lot, I wouldn't want you to do that. But the cleaning side of it, I'd be curious.
Can I explore that?
Think if we just start cleaning during seasonal busyness.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like the idea of making sure our comms are alerting people to the fact that we're not happy and we're doing something. And I like the idea of we're watching. We're keeping an eye on this.
A good threat's always nice.
Yeah.
Threatening could be good of what this might.
Yeah.
If you don't respond to that.
Yeah. How many people have a beware of the dog sign on their gate if you actually know that?
Yeah.
And we're not lying, there are cameras around.
Yeah.
The dog sign in the toilet.
Sure. You are being watched, would probably be enough.
Yeah, that's right.
We're looking at putting
We
Simon
have
down
cameras
here.
inside.
I would love it.
Sure.
Put some solar panels on the roof for you.